All right, we're jumping ahead a little bit here since we're waiting on some more Coosa board and putty to show up so we can finish the transom. Gone ahead and started stripping down the top cap. This is going to get cut down. I'm going to modify the front, take that little front part of the cutty off, and still use the ring part. So first order business was to get all the hardware off. It's all sitting on the table in there, didn't put up much of a fight. And now I am pulling the coring out of it. I guess just say it this way, if you guys are ever concerned about, rebuilding the boat because you're not, sure of your fiberglassing skills, just think this is what passed back in the 70s, and it lasted 50 years, so just go for it. So really just kind of went along the seam, and most part, well, this side's holding on a little bit, but there it goes. And just totally delaminated from the wood getting wet, so just a matter of pulling it up. So go ahead and pull the rest of that out. The chisel and the hammer, pop this wood out and template it up a little bit. It's what, 3 inches. I'm gonna recore this all with Disassembling. Fill these holes. Yeah, just make it right. Yeah, this wood's not holding on very tight either. Just see if I can do this one-handed, but yeah. That was it. Looks like it got a couple little spots where the resin touched it. Alright, back out here on the cap again today. Disassembling what we need so that we can reuse the ring portion of it, and removing the cover for the cutty. If you remember how this looked, there was a hatch that folded over there and the 2 bifold doors were right there. This was the sealing of the cutty cabin for inside. So if you're ever taking one of these apart and wonder how it went together, there was 2 vents that were under here. This just cuts out. That's where the louvers go that these Aquasports are known for. And it looks like they used the original ring mold and then just added this part. So there are 2 sheets of plywood here. You can trim right along the edge here, and that just pops right out. Toss that aside with the other one, and then it looks like a matter of just cutting right on the inside here, and then we can reshape, reform up the what do they call it, the combing board that goes around. So this is getting cut here in the corners. This whole middle section should fall out here in just a few more cuts. All right, didn't put up too much of a fight. Right around. Got this piece is out now. Now probably would have been just as easy to cut it from the top side, but there's my little dolly I had this sitting on. So I think we got something we can work with now. All right, thought about leaving this. I was like, it doesn't feel that wet, but yeah, didn't take too much to break this loose. Just run around, and yeah, pretty wet. So we'll go ahead and get this ripped off, chip that wood out, and we'll replace it with some Disassembling while we're doing everything else. Yep, just like I thought. I took about 10 seconds of pulling on with 2 hands, and wood came with it. So yeah, little wet. There's actually standing water in there. And hey, good news is 90%, 95% of the wood came off with it. So Should make clean up a breeze. We are recoring the cap. We have the piece that I cut off sitting on a sheet of Disassembling. Picked up a bunch of it the other day along with another box of 1708 and a couple gallons of gel coat and 10 more gallons of resin, and we get this cap re-cored and back on the boat first before it loses shape. So have everything ground out, ready to go on that. I did pour the leftover foam down in these little valleys because it really stiffened it up. And then plan is to re-core this front and then all down these sides with some new strips. Build a little combing to go around to match, you know, where it ends right here. And get this thing back on the boat so I can get my driveway back. That's where we're at today. Let's get to it. Well, one nice thing about putting this thing on wheels is I can roll it out of the sun to work on it. Got the front coring cut to fit. This is all ground out, cleaned. Plan is, oh, come on wind. Plans to 2 or 3 layers of chop strand cut to size. For that, do the same thing. I'm going to cut the strips for the side out of the same little sheet of Disassembling that I cut and get everything bonded in. Got 3 layers of choppy, 1.5 ounces, to the third one is just shredded, ripped up into a bunch of chunks. That way when I roll it all out, kind of maneuver it all around, I can kind of make almost like a soupy little mess on top. Press this down, same thing I did with the Cusa board. Drilled a bunch of little 3/16 holes in it. Press it down, see some resin gooping out, and know we got a good bond. Okay, had to move a few things around. Put some blocks under there to keep it up because put a lot of weight on it to press this down. But a lot of gooping out. It's exactly what we want. Gooping out here. So I'm going to go around with a brush and just kind of wipe up some of these big clumpies before they get too bad. But give this an hour or so and take everything off of it and put some layers on top. Wood is off. It's only been about 15 minutes, but it's hot today, so it did not take long at all. Trying to clean some of this up. It's, you know, cured already, but scrape some of these little gumpies off before they get too bad, because that's just going to lead to a bunch of bubbles when I put the next layer on. But for now, let me go ahead and go all the way down. This is going to be easier because I can just put the bar clamps on the outside. So I'll cut a bunch of these strips to fit all the way down, clamp, glue, and then once it's all done, anything that's raised up, beautiful thing about this Disassembling, you just run across it with a sander, smooth that edge right off. You don't need a bunch of putty or anything. You just put some chop strand right over it to lock it down, and then little 1708 to strengthen it up, and we'll be back in good shape. Got the core cut. It's not perfect, but doesn't really have to be perfect. So that goes all the way down both sides. Instead of doing the chop strand and all that mess, we're just going to use some FGCI bonding putty. So basically pick each piece up, butter it on there like some toast, and press it back down, and clamp them if they want to come up. And then once that's all dry, we'll clean up the edges and whatever. Any squeeze out we get, I'll take a spreader and make a little fillet out of it. And should be ready to roll some tabbing glass down over the whole thing. Well, got it done. It's fighting the weather. It's stupid cold front coming through tonight. We're supposed to have some rain here in about an hour. I figured out, I'll just glass this up real quick, and next thing you know, it starts sprinkling. So there is moisture in there. That is what it is. There's only so much you can do when it starts sprinkling. I pushed everything out of the way and slid this thing back into the shop as far as I could. But I didn't film much of it because I was kind of racing the weather, but got it all bonded down. Layer of 1708 over this. Used the tabbing glass, ran it all the way up. This has, besides what we bonded down, it had 2 layers of 1.5 ounces on top, a layer of 1708, and then right there where the front cleat is going to be, I put 2 more layers of chop and 3 more layers of 1708. It started getting hot. You can see where it discolored right there. It got very warm. But solid as a rock. That's all I really care about. Gonna let this cool off. I'm just gonna walk away from it for a little bit. And at least now everything is good enough that I can push it back out of my way. So plan for now, clean this up once it kicks, and then throw some gel coat over the whole thing just so it doesn't look terrible. Oh crap, I forgot. I gotta do this whole combing thing, so stand by. I'll get all that done. Going to form up just a single piece of glass, probably, what is that, 6, 7, 8 inches tall, and grind all that out flat. Once the glass cures, I'll bend it, wrap it around, and glue it in place, and use that kind of as a little form to build up upon. And then once it's built up, 3-4 layers extra, get it nice thickness, you go through and probably pour a little more foam in that void. This, just pouring that in, I mean, this is so much stronger. Like, it's insane the difference. And that foam was just going to waste anyways. I know it's kind of ugly, but it's the underside of the cap, unless you want to lay down on the deck and look up under it. But I know I'm going to be walking on it, so I want it strong, and that really, really helped. So, enough yapping for now. We'll walk away for a little bit. All right, wrapping up for the night. Got this all cut flat and grinded out. Inside's grinded. So this way when I put the piece of glass up in there, I'll glue it or screw it or something up here so it follows this curve all around. And then I can come from the inside, add a whole bunch of layers until, you know, I've matched this thickness. Probably, what, 3/16, probably 4 layers, maybe 1 more. And once that's all built back up, clean it up and gel coat this whole thing, get it back on the boat before I start the floor, and mainly because I want to make sure that this is in place. So when I'm measuring the floor, even though it'll probably only be maybe a 1/4 inch difference, 1/2 inch difference, you don't want to put the floor on and realize that you've pushed the sides out, and then you can't put the cap back on. Nothing fits. And now that we have the front area there all cleaned up and flat, we're going to go ahead and make a fiberglass panel that we can curve around that combing to form it up. I'm just using a little bit of painter's plastic and a couple sheets of chop. Get them as straight as you can, glass them up, let it kick, and this is flexible enough that you can then curve it around the front of this, glue it in place, and once it's all done, it'll look just like the rest of it. Laid up, just needs to cure. We can pick it up, trim it the size, and glue it on. this laid out pretty nice. This is the panel once it's pulled up off the plastic. Still need to do a little more fine tune fitting and shaping, but step up here. Overall, if I put some glass behind it, it should work out pretty well to extend that combing down. And I purposely made it 2 inches longer so that once it's all glassed in and good, it can be trimmed to size. So next up, you stick a little bit of putty down in that gap just to lock it in place, and then start slapping a bunch of glass in there to hold it up. Right now it's just held in with clamps and some little number 6 screws. So once I get it glassed in, I'll pull those out, fill those holes. We should be good to go. Just need to let this cool down now. It's I kind of lost track. I got at least 4 layers on each side. Probably 3 1708. That's at least, including the outside, there's 2 more 1.5 ounces, so 5 layers plus the outside. So we'll let this cool and then trim it flat. You see it's a good 2 inches higher than the rest. Trim this off right about here, and then once we get the cap flipped back over, I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit up under here to fill in, but that's easy enough once we have gravity back on our side. Trimmed up, looking pretty decent. Pretty thick, especially right on these corners where I had these overlaps. Yeah, pretty beefy. That'll work. I need to do a little final trimming. I just measured it with the little straight edge there, and I cut it high, figuring I would just go back and sand it flat, whatever. But for now, it's good enough to get it ready to finish up and flip this thing back over and take half my shop back. Well, I guess I missed filming the foam fill, but yeah, basically I poured that full of foam, I sanded it flat, and then I put a layer of chop strand on top of it just to seal it up, along with some putty that was just some loose milled fibers and a little bit of silica. Pretty loose putty just to kind of fill in those little gaps. So it's ugly, but it's strong, and that is what I care about. So I just put a little gel coat on it to cure it off, and I'm going to put it to bed for the night. Tomorrow I will come out and clean it up some. I still gotta clean up all little wispy bits and sanding and make it pretty. And then we'll get it back on a boat, and then we'll go to the fun stuff. Yeah, so remember when I said I was gonna make it pretty? Well, I sure as hell didn't. Sanded, grinded off all the sharp bits. It's nice and solid, and that's all I care about. I am going to clean it up. I used some gel coat with wax to cure it. So I'm going to acetone it, wipe it down real good, just so when I do go in my final coating, once it's back on the boat and I've done all the interior fairing and I'm ready for either paint or gel coat on the inside, I won't have to worry about cleaning it while it's upside down, getting all the rest of the wax off. So that will be back in its place hopefully by the end of today. And then once we are sure on our width measurements, we'll start in with the floor. So stay tuned. There we go. Cap is down, back on. Still got to do a little trimming and stuff, especially, you know, right here in the back by the, you know, where the transom all is, just because that's a little different than it was. So make that fit. Pretty close on a lot of these screw holes, actually. You can see these are pretty much lining up, so that's good. So now, only thing I do have is got a little smile up on the front. Gonna have to pull this down, but no big deal there. Get that and clamp it down, bolt it, glue it, whatever. But yeah, I'm pleased. The front looks really nice. I like that that addition I did. It looks a lot better than that cab. So I'm looking forward to getting this thing mostly fit back into place and start working on the cool stuff. We're gonna have a nice casting deck here, storage box, so you can stand up here. You know, you can stand up on the bow here if you really want. I'll have this all non-skidded and cleaned up. And anchor locker, I'm gonna fix all that up, leave kind of an open anchor locker because I hate just fighting with hatches to pull anchors out. So, but yeah, other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and call the cap done. So next we're going to get onto the floor. Thank you if you're still watching this video at this point. Appreciate you watching the whole thing. Hit the like button, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff, you know how all that works. And I'm gonna keep at this until this boat's done. So, you know, stick along and we will build something cool. All right, guys, talk soon.